Welcome to our tutorial series on learning to use Autodesk Inventor. This is the first in a series of videos that will help you learn the basic operational skills needed to make 3D modeling concepts and drawings inside of Inventor. At this point, you should have watched the overview video for Inventor. You should have watched the Inventor Overface video and taken the quiz. Now we'll get into actually logging into Autodesk Inventor. And to do that, we'll be using something called the Amazon Web Services. So to do so, you will have to start from the class link window on your Chromebook. And so you'll click into class link. Once you're there, you're looking for this yellow icon with A on the side, and that is Amazon Web Services. Our school has enabled us to use a pretty much cutting edge technology tool to get Inventor onto your Chromebook. Inventor is a program, it's not an app, which means traditionally we can't use it on a Chromebook. We'd have to have it on a pretty high powered computer. If you had to go and buy a program such as Inventor, it runs just a little bit over $2,000. So it is good stuff. It's state of the art. We're using 2021 version of Inventor this year. So it's the latest release of this software as well. What we'll need to do is you'll click on this Amazon Web Services, and then that will give you a window that looks much like, it comes up something like that. Yours is going to take a little bit of time to log up because you're logging into it the first time. Now, I've got this all set up on my computer already. It's running. Once it pulls up, you're going to get to a screen that looks like that. Typically, Amazon Web Services takes 1 to 2 minutes to log in. It's as if you came into a room, into my classroom, turned on the laptop, and it takes a minute or two to boot up the computer. So it takes a little bit of time to boot up. So just be patient with the process. For today, as that's booting up, why don't you create a new tab? Well, actually, let's go up to Wasika Schools, your class link, and let's go ahead and open up your Google Drive. Go to your IED folder that we have set up, that is shared with me, and we're going to create a new folder on your IED folder. So inside of the IED folder, let's create a new folder that will be set up for our Inventor work. So it may be a good time to pause the video, and you can do a couple things here. I maybe start by getting into Google Drive and setting up a new folder like I've just done there. I've got my Inventor work folder, and also you could be working on getting your Amazon app stream or web stream set up. And once that's all done, then we can resume. You can resume watching the video. But as we work through these videos, I would suggest that you watch a little bit, and there's good spots to pause, like we're at now. Pause, go and set up your Inventor work folder on your Google Drive. Log into, open your tab back up here and open up Amazon Web Services. Get that ready to go. And once everything is ready to go, you can resume the video, and we're back in working. So pause and go get those 2 steps done. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you've got your Inventor work folder made on your Google Drive, and Amazon AppStream has loaded successfully for you. You've got quite a few options. What we're going to focus on for our class is right here. Okay, we want to focus with Autodesk Inventor 2021. So what we'll have you do is just double click, or just click on that, and that should open up Inventor for you. May take a little bit to load the program. Works much like as if we were running on an actual computer. It's a big program. There's a lot of graphics capabilities to it, so it takes a little bit to load. So be patient in the process. Don't start clicking buttons if it doesn't respond as quickly as you think it should. Let it do its work. You'll kind of see the progress that's happening. This white bar is getting longer as it goes, and should get you into a screen much like that. And once you're in, we'll need to get you connected to your Google Drive. And to do that, I believe, and now I've already done this with mine, so mine may have changed a little bit from yours, but you'll need to go up to, I believe it's this window right here. If you click on that, that's going to give you the opportunity to connect this to your Google Drive. So if you click on that, you're going to get a window, and I believe you're going to have something in here that gives you the option of connecting to your Google Drive. Because I've already done this step, it won't let me do it again, but you'll have to connect this to your Google Drive. Okay. Once you've got that all done, that just takes a few seconds to do. If you need to pause the video at this point, you can do that. Then we're going to start getting into the basics of Inventor. Our home screen will look just like this. Now, at this point, what I would probably suggest we do is we should have everything linked to your Google Drive, so we start saving things. Like, for example, I can go to my files right here, and there's my Google Drive, and that's kind of the window you're looking for. If I go to my drive, find my IED folder, you should be familiar with this process because you do this with other classes and things, but find your IED folder, and Inventor is what we're looking for. Here's our Inventor work folder, and it's empty because there's nothing in there. All right, so we should be good there. Now, at this point, I would suggest that we go to full screen mode, hitting those arrows that are crossed arrows, and should get us in full screen. Now, give yourself a little bit more real estate if you need that on your screen, because obviously our Chromebooks are kind of small screen. Hover at the top, you notice our little windows come back with things like switching between programs. We can switch windows. Get that bar back here. Here is our files, contacting how we save it. You shouldn't have to do anything with these other ones. You can exit full screen mode there. Otherwise, I believe Escape does the same thing. And then basically, yeah, exit full screen is right there. So you can exit out of full screen, come right back in, just to show you how to get in and out of that. Now we're ready to get into the basics of working with Autodesk Inventor. So this is your home screen. So if you look on the ribbon up here, you've got a house. If I get into a drawing, I ever want to get back to my home screen, just look for the house on the quick access toolbar at the very top, and that brings you back to this screen. And what you'll see is if you want to start a part drawing, there's a quick button to go into that. If you're making assemblies, which we'll learn about later, you can go in there, drawings or presentations. I don't use these a whole lot. I'll show you the way that I typically work through this, and I would suggest you working through it. Things that you've worked on should be in here. Examples of a few things that you'll do in our time together. But we are going to start out by making basically a new drawing file, and there's a few different ways you can do that. As we do this, I would strongly suggest that you have your notebook out and have a page open to Inventor Tech Tips, a page that you'll keep adding information to as you go. I believe in the first video I had suggested writing down some Inventor Tech Tips as you go, and we'll add a few more of these as we move through our time together. So there's a few different ways you can open up a new file. You can go just new is probably the easiest way. You can go File, New. So those are the two ways that you can do that. I'm going to just click on New right here, and it pops me up into a window, Create New File. What we are looking for is we're looking for a standard IPT. Let's see if I have options here. Now, the standard is just in the US, what we know as the US customary measuring system. If I give you a drawing you need to do in metric, here's where you choose that. I would go here, and now notice how this menu changed a little bit. It went from standard, this now says standard.ipt, which is the file extension for Inventor part files, but it's an millimeter. If you wanted to be in the English STEM template, it would be standard inch IPT. We're going to start with the inches for the most part, and if you need to switch, you kind of know where that is. It's just a matter of, again, dropping down, has templates set up for English or metric. So to start then, we have gone New, pop their window up here. The easiest way to start a new file, you can double click on standard INIPT, or you can click there, then click here. I'm a big fan of being as efficient as possible. Double click on that and give it a few seconds, and it should open you up into what we call as a drawing window on Inventor. Your screen at this point is probably gray in color. Okay, let's change a couple things quickly. Well, maybe not so quickly, but we'll have you change a couple things because I always like to draw on a white screen. So if you have not gotten to this point, a great place, pause the video, get Inventor opened so you can kind of work with this as you go. So if you want to open up Inventor on another tab or have that open on another tab, open up a file by going to the new file or the file new, one of the two, open up a standard inch IPT. Okay, assuming you've gotten that all done, there's a couple things I'd like you to do. We're going to go to the File menu. File, if you just click on it, down in the very bottom, there is a tool called Options, if you look where my mouse is hovering. Options, we click on the Options button, and to change this screen, which is probably gray on yours, to a white screen, we're going to go up to the Colors tab. We should have an Application Options window that's opened. We're going to start by going to Colors, and we want to change our color of our background to be white. So if you come down here, we want to come down to this menu. It says In Canvas Color Scheme. We're looking for the word Presentation. Click on Presentation, and these are all alphabetical, so just look for the presentation under the P. And then we're going to jump over here to Background. Click the down arrow, and you've got three options. Click on one color, and then let's see if I can move this window up a little bit. I want to get down to my Apply button. Apply that. Your window should have just turned white in color. All right, a couple more settings we'll try and get you set up with, which will make working with your Inventor files a lot easier. We're going to go to Display. So right next to Colors, because again, I think they come, no, I guess they aren't even alphabetical, but click on Display. And we're going to work with the top section here. We want to go to Use Application Settings, and let's go to Settings. So we went Display tab, Use Application Settings. Settings opens up a new window. We want one that's called Shaded with Edges, and we want to have ambient shadows, okay? Shaded with Edges, ambient shadows. And it probably would be a good idea to write these down, pause the video, go do it. So we went to Display, Use Application Settings, Settings bar. We're in here. We come to Visual Style, Shaded with Edges, and Ambient Shadows, and we can hit OK. And Apply. And I think for now, that's all I really want you to change on your Inventor. We can go ahead and close that, and now we're ready to start doing some work inside of Inventor. So again, as we go along, I'll give you some tips as far as tech tips as we go. The options we just changed, you shouldn't have to do again, so those are not worthy of a tech tip in your notebook. All right, when we start to draw something, we have to create a sketch. Right now I don't have any drawing tools up here. Nothing is lit up. I'm in 3D model, but there's really nothing to work with. So every time you start drawing, it starts by going to Start 2D Sketch. And there is a drop-down button I'll make you aware of, but I typically don't use that. I don't really want you to be in 3D Sketch. I don't use that. I've taught Inventor now for 8 years, and I've never used the 3D. Okay, we're going to deal with 2D sketches, and then we'll make it 3D. So if you just click on that, and it should bring up the coordinate planes. And if you hover over them, then I'm not clicking my mouse, just hovering over them, it tells you what they are. If you can kind of see at the bottom there, it says XZ plane in red text. This one says YZ plane in red text. This one says XY Y plane. Now, think of our isometric work that we've done. If I want my front view, click on the front view, and now what do I see? It's the XY plane. Okay, that's our view cube we learned about in our Inventor interface. XY plane is our front view. We can go back up to the house, change that around again. If we want to look at the right side view, click on right in the view cube. That is our YZ plane. Go back to the house, front, right, top. If I want to look at my top view, that rotates that to my XZ plane. I'm going to go back to the house or the home view so you can kind of start seeing the different views and how you'll be working with them. Typically for what we will be doing, I would suggest we just start with the XY plane. We'll learn about choosing different planes as we work into Inventor more, but for now, with the basic parts we'll be drawing, we'll just use the XY plane. You click on that red plane, and now it pulls you into a 3D view. And if you think of from your math or your geometry class, we have the vertical axis known as the y-axis. The vertical is the y-axis. The horizontal axis would be our z-axis. And notice now that we're in here, it changed on the tabs to our sketch mode. This gives us all of our sketching tools and the ribbon. At the end of the ribbon, you'll notice what came alive was the Finish Sketch button. Okay, so we're in sketch mode right now. And if you look at our browser, we all of a sudden have this new device or new image that shows up. It's Sketch 1. Okay, Sketch 1. It's building. This browser will grow as we are working on things. Okay. Now we're ready to start drawing something, and it may be as simple as we can draw a line, a circle, an arc, or a rectangle. And if you notice, the tools that are largest, like line, circle, arc, rectangle, dimension, finish, sketch, notice they are larger than all the other tools on the ribbon. And that's on purpose, because those are the ones we most frequently use. Okay, so if I want to make a line, I just pick on the line tool, and I always suggest that we start drawing from the origin. It does something with our drawing, kind of locks our geometry to the origin so it doesn't start moving inadvertently on you. So to draw a line, I just click and release my mouse button. I move my tool up. I'm just going to draw a square. And notice the blue number is getting larger. If I want that square to be 1 inch long, I can just enter 1 on my keyboard and hit enter. I've got a 1 inch line, 1 inch long line. Using my mouse button, I can zoom myself in and out, and I can see the end of that. And let's make another one that's maybe 1 inch long again. Hit enter. I can pull that straight down, and what's going to happen is it's going to snap to that x-axis. Snaps in there. I'm just going to finish that by dragging over. Notice I didn't have to put in 1 because we already defaulted to the origin or the x-axis again. If I click on that, I've got a rectangle drawn or a square drawn. Okay. When I'm done with the drawing tool, your best friend in Inventor is the right-click button. So worthy of a tech tip, you may want to pause and write this down to use the right-click button. So if I hit right-click on my mouse, I have a marking menu that shows up, and I have all these things I can choose to do. I'm done using that tool, so I can either hit OK or I can hit cancel. Okay, I'm going to pick OK. I'm done. Notice that the line is not highlighted anymore. So you may want to pause at this point. Just go and write yourself a note. When you're done with the drawing tool, you click on the right click on your mouse button, and then you can cancel or hit OK to turn that off. All right, a couple more things in this session. I can hit right click on my mouse again, and I have options here. I can pick create a line. I can pick a 2-point rectangle. I can pick center point circle. Notice some of these are starting to show up. These are options. So again, right click can be one of your best friends because it has these tools there already. Or if you just want to cancel out of that, you can just go up here and select your tools up here. I might pick rectangle. Okay. And if you see a little triangle at the bottom, it's called the flyout menu. Click on that and you've got several different types of options there. Rectangle, 2-point, which if I draw a 2-point rectangle, it's just a matter of click the first point, and I'm going to get rid of my menu bar here so you can, oh, I'm going to escape out of that. Right click and hit cancel as I want to get rid of this menu bar if I can. I can't. Oh, I think this is in here because I'm using Screencastify, but that's covering up my status bar because if I pick my rectangle tool, it's going to say pick beginning point, pick other point or ending point of the rectangle. So I'm just dragging my mouse out after I let go of the mouse button. I can key in the size of my rectangle. Notice how the horizontal distance is highlighted. I can type in 1. If I hit the tab button on my keyboard, that'll move me to the other dimension. So maybe I want a 1 by 0.5 rectangle. Now I can hit enter, and I've got a 1 by 0.5 rectangle. Other options up there, you've got 3-point rectangle. The ones I typically use the most would either be 2-point rectangle or 2-point center. And how 2-point center works, since that's a common one, pick the center of your rectangle and then just move that out. And again, I can set my size 1 because the blue box is highlighted for the horizontal dimension. Tab to the other one, 0.5, and hit enter. I've got the same size rectangle. Done. I can hit right click and let's try cancel this time. Does the same thing. Turns my rectangle tool off. All right. I think we've got as far as we need to for this session. So we're done sketching. Hit finish sketch. Oh, I'm going to show you one more tip before we go. I can zoom in and out so I can see these images. The next thing we typically do in Inventor is we make things three-dimensional. So now, if you notice, I've done drawing 2D. Look at what shows up in my tabs. My 3D tab is now live. Okay. With that comes a bunch of new tools in the ribbon. I'm going to pick extrude. Extrude is like adding depth to something. So I pick the extrude button. I have to tell it what to extrude. Which shape do I want to work with? Notice how I hover over a shape and it changes the color to pink. That's the one I'm going to extrude. Okay, and I can tell that which way to extrude by this is forward, this will take it back. This one says symmetrical, in other words, half forward, half back, and we've got one that's called asymmetrical. I could have some to the back, some to the front of that drawing plane. So I'm just going to extrude that forward, and you can tell it how much as well. Maybe I want to go 2 inches out. Notice it extrudes that 2 inches out, and we hit OK. Now a couple more tools. I guess I thought I was done, but there's 3 more tools I want you to see in this tutorial before we end. And they are mouse movements. So again, tech tips, you'll want to write these down. The first one that we use a lot in Inventor is called the pan tool, P-A-N, pan tool. You work with this by holding your shift button down on your keyboard, holding the middle mouse button down, and then you can drag. It's not going to work on my computer today. No, I'm sorry. I'm in a different program. Hold my middle mouse button. Well, how about this one? Middle mouse button, zoom first. We're going to zoom by rolling that in and out. Okay? And if I want to pan that, oh, goodness sakes, it's not working. There's other tools. I can use the pan tool, which is the hand over here. Let's see. Moves the graphics window in any direction. So we click on that, and I come over here. It is not working. There we go. Now I can drag that image on my screen. Okay, that's pan. I can go ahead and hit OK when I'm done with that. So I hit a right click. Trying to do one more tool because there's another way we typically pan things, but perhaps with Amazon WebStream we need to use the pan button and then we can drag that side to side on our screen. Okay, the other one, so we've got zoom. our middle mouse button, we dial that in and out. That zooms us in and out. And notice that it zooms at wherever my mouse is at. So if I focus on that corner, it zooms right there. So that's zoom, rolling your middle mouse button. Pan, we'll just use the hand. And then the other one is orbit, which typically we'll use the orbit tool right there, and then you can rotate your object around to see the different sides of it. Okay, that's our orbit tool. Again, when you're done, right click and we can get done, and then we can go back to our home view to get it all set in place. All right, that's a good stopping point. Zoom, pan, and orbit are these tools you want to work with. Zoom, you can use your mouse. Pan, moving side to side, and then orbit is right here. So those tools will help you manipulate your drawing on the screen. All right, that's it for now. Hopefully you've taken some tech tips. You've done a little bit of practice inside of Inventor. And our next video, we'll actually start drawing a little mini drawing that I call the Holy Cube. That's coming next. Thank you, and we'll see you on our next video.